Hello. Oh my God, I left the UI up here. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. Hey guys, it's me, Pete Mohrbacher. So I'm not going to do the reference images I uploaded on the Discord today because I'm a bad boy. I am going to instead be, first I'm pulling up the chat because then I can see the chat. Hello, chat. Chat, have you heard that I'm a bad boy today? I'm going to do a Frank Frazetta study because we've got a Frank Frazetta challenge going on the Discord server right now. If you want to join, I'm going to be saying this later also, but here's the Discord link. If you want to join in on the Frank Frazetta challenge, it's due on Friday and it's Tuesday. So I recommend that if you think doing art challenges are fun, that you should go there and do this one. This is going to be a banger. I'm looking forward to seeing what everyone comes up with. You can kind of take this thing however you want, whether it's like doing your own art in Frank Frazetta style or doing a Frank Frazetta style subject in your own style. It's all up to you. And then on Friday, we're going to have Sarah Frazetta, Frank's granddaughter, coming and taking a look at all the entries along with me. I'm going to be looking at them for the first time live on Friday at the beginning of the stream, along with Sarah, who's going to be dialing in remotely. I mean, obviously it's Twitch, but I mean, she's going to be out of town. She's dialing in special for us because she loves this idea so much. I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm going to be spending the whole stream promoting it by doing this study. Let's see. I got notes here to try to make sure that I don't just spin my wheels. And I'm going to be doing those notes at the end of the stream, which is in the notes. Don't tell people at the beginning when no one's here. Tell them at the end when everyone's here. That's a good idea. Okay. Back to the stream. So yeah. Hey, news again that no one asked for. I was recently contacted, as in this morning. I got a phone call, not a phone call. This morning I got an email from XP Pen, and they're like, hey, would you like to do any kinds of product reviews and or giveaways with XP Pen? The XP Pen's the second largest tablet maker in the world. Maybe you've heard of us. And I was like, hey, I've been doing giveaways every Friday. Maybe you've heard of me. And so maybe, buongiorno, hello, Kim. Maybe they're going to send us a big pile of tablets that I get to give away to you guys if you want an XP Pen tablet. That would be dope. And I'm hoping to get one for myself so I can review it so I can see whether or not I'm sending really great tablets out to you guys or total huge piles of trash. I suspect that these things are pretty good. I've heard good things, and I want to try one for myself. And guess what? It's all coming together. The universe is providing in a way that I truly don't believe in. So let's see. What am I up to here? I was in the process of trying to upscale this reference images. I downloaded it off of Pinterest. It is too small. Too small. And so I went to try to, maybe I should repeat this. I went to go try to upscale it using Photoshop's new neural filters, their mega AI big brain solution. And this is what it did to Frank's work. Fucking disgusting. Awful. It's funny, it even like erased out his signature. It made it way blurrier and shittier. Maybe I got the settings wrong, but I'm just going to go into Gigapixel, which actually gives me like a preview on what it's doing. And it actually seems like it is making the details clearer. It is keeping a lot of the texture intact. I'm going to turn the suppress noise down a little bit on this to see if I can get some more of that canvas texture. I just wanted to double the size in a way that was better than the sort of bicubic, sharper, like blowing it up in Photoshop look. I'm turning the suppress noise all the way down, actually. Let's see. Art and CG, face recovery off, gamma correction off. Excellent, excellent. What does the standard one look like? It's got these different models that it'll follow, and they get potentially very different results out of these different upscales.
Hello.
So, I mean, this is the original one, right? Obviously, the real painting is going to look better. This guy's looking pretty cross-eyed. But, and you get a little bit of that AI kind of over-sharpening that happens, like especially around the headdress here. But it is for real looking like it's adding like pretty good detail as far as extra brush strokes, keeping the texture looking natural. And this is all imagined texture and stuff. Whatever was happening up here before definitely is like changed shape and gotten a little bizarre. But this is a huge upgrade. So I have 2 thumbs up to Gigapixel for constantly giving me results. There's a link to it over on the huckleberry.art website that is like, I think, a referral code. So I get like 20% of the purchase cost if you buy it from there. Yeah, it's $100 to be able to upscale photos real good, which is pretty pricey. But it happens for me all the time. It comes up all the time. And I don't trust Photoshop to do it right. So I'm asking a professional. Oh my God, so much better. What a totally different result. Look like on the shoulder here, like how much extra detail Gigapixel does compared to Photoshop. It's crazy. All right. Oh yeah, so much easier to work with. This is excellent. All right. So what size? Now I'm going to set the image size now that I have some extra pixels to work with here. Hello, Summer Dragoness. Creative Caliber. All right. Okay, so yeah, it's a little bigger than that even at the size that I usually go at. It's all good. It's going to be fine. It's going to be a study anyway. I'm going to butcher this painting a little bit. I forgot to look at what size it was. It's 5.5. Oh, did I say 5.6? Fat figured it. There we go. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Oh, okay. So I've been trying to figure out where to put this palette. Where do I put this palette? It's kind of in the way of the reference over here. All right, yeah, I guess it's gonna be there. I don't really need that many layers, so it'll be fine. All right. Well, welcome everyone who's hanging out in the chat. It's good to see you guys. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I've got a few different possibilities of what to do here. You know, my typical method of working is to work in black and white first. And with the studies, it's been fairly easy to, you know, add a little bit of ground and then make a little bit of no-tan to sort of like sketch out where all of the landmarks are in the piece, build a value, add some color, refine it down. It's all been fine. But in this case, I just don't trust that my coloring method is really going to do what I want it to do. And so I'm wondering if maybe I take the big, bold Frank Frazetta style step and work in color first. He's definitely got this underpainting that's this like this very deep maroon color, right? Little bit of purple in there. Very rich. Maybe it's not a little bit of purple. Maybe I suck at color. But this deep, rich blood color, and he's got that over the whole canvas first. And then he's washing in like some of these blues up on top of it, and as they like mix together, he's getting these like really interesting hues. And then like it looks like as he wipes away at the blue, like some of the orange underneath shows back up again, and it looks really good. And so there's a lot in the background that's happening with like a lot of turpentine, thin washes of paint kind of sliding over each other. And then he's got these deeper areas cut in with this black that's just like blotting out all of the color underneath. And so I might give it a shot to replicate a little bit this process in my own way here. And we're going to start by having a really dark saturated ground color. Maybe even go a little bit darker and more saturated in areas. I don't know why I should pull up the color. You can see how it's sort of sliding along this bottom edge down into darker areas here. That's probably a better place to pick the color. How are you almost done with client work for the entire year? How does that happen? That sounds great. Client work is the worst. I hate client work. I don't usually take a lot of it. York, hello. Oh, My Summer Dragoness, congratulations on your promotion. I see Dustin has granted you powers. It's a good idea. Okay. So then coming up from here, we've got some of these. I can actually do it here. It's much more comfortable. Let's see, find the right hue. Maybe more purple. Maybe a little bit softer than that. I don't know. I'm not Mr. Colors or anything when it comes to like mixing paint.
In your experience, working with traditional, one thing about it is you kind of get these like natural color variations, even with like light mixing, and some pigments just have that. With digital, it's like easy to like you have a hue, right? When you're blocking things out like this, do you find that it's easier to just like settle on some local color and then start to mix in like you're doing now, or are there times where you actually want to build in the color variation earlier on?
Well, the way I get the color variation out of digital is through blending modes and through gradient maps,
Cool.
right? And so one of the things I'm doing now is I realize as soon as you start trying to mix in these saturated colors over each other in normal mode, you immediately start getting this kind of like, I mean, this is all right, but like where they start to mix together, they don't mix into like saturated purple tones.
That's right.
They just start to get chalky. And it's like, it's fine. Actually, this is more or less fine. But what I was experimenting with a little bit is maybe if I hit it with the hard light instead.
Yeah.
So sometimes in order to get, because like once I start sampling this color that's like no longer a pure tone, as I spread it around, it starts to get pretty muddy pretty fast. So I need to, I think what I'm going to try to do here is as I'm like adding in washes of color and whatnot, I'm going to try to keep from resampling over and over again so that the brush maintains like a fairly pure color. And then once I've got it spread around, I can then smush it down together without it going quite so chalky on me.
Yeah, super helpful. That chalkiness that you describe is like the main challenge that it's like you said, it's not bad all the time. I just feel like, especially when working digitally, I'm surely there are other. I'm weirdly allergic to blending modes, and I probably need to get over that when I'm working on digital.
Yeah, I mean this is normal mode, so it's fine. But it's I do want to be like most of the time when I'm adding color to a canvas, I'm doing so with a blending mode because a lot of the accidental like hue mixtures that you get, because you're not ever going to get that kind of experience that you would get with pigment. Like you have to fake it some other way. You have to do something else that's going to like cause that kind of naturalistic color mixing.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So here we go. So I'm just trying to lay in like some of these loose background things that are happening here early because like the plan is to not spend a ton of time on them. You can see how like quickly some of this looks like. I've never watched a video where Frazetta breaks down his process, but it looks like he's sort of wiping away at this with like either a brush that's got some terp on it or like hitting it with a rag. And actually just like once the color's down, you can like just totally smash it with a rag and like push it around loosely, and then have an area that you know is like either there's a sketch that's already down underneath to be able to know where the figure's going to be over the top. Like that's what I would probably do, is get a sketch in and then start to if it's like, if I'm not going to be moving the sketch around too much, like maybe it's been sealed down or something, go and start to push color around over the top of it to build these kind of like loose color zones in the background early before like things get too organized.
I think he was doing underpainting.
I don't know. This is one of those things, like I really want to spend more time learning about traditional media. Oh my God, old habits here. To be,
I'm actually surprised you don't know oil.
I've done a little bit of oil, but
yeah.
it's like I've only sat down and like the majority of time I've spent with it is me screwing around with it on my own time. So like I haven't tried to replicate specific working methods before. I know of like a couple of them, but
it's just, I say that because it's, your art really kind of bespeaks a kind of an oily quality. Sorry, that was a weird way of phrasing
I'm an oily.
it. But like,
everybody knows this about me. I'm an oily guy.
You're very greasy is the main takeaway from today. Like I've also only played with oil a little bit, but one of the biggest things like immediately you realize when you just have a wash, for example, is like, man, the kind of the natural iridescence that arises, it's really cool. You just get these natural hue variations.
Yep.
Yeah, and so it's like, yeah, with digital, I think
I've just learned to try to fake all that stuff. Like that's been my whole thing, is like, hey, I'm just going to try to, I love that look, so I'm going to do what tools reproduce that look digitally, so that I can get that same vibe, but without having to like actually learn this particular medium, because there's a lot of other challenges. And the big one for me is space. I've never had a house where I had a painting space that could be like safe for working with solvents.
Yep.
I
have a similar issue living in California. Even with my lawyer salary, it's like hard to find a really big, like I can't have it a separate art studio, for example.
Yeah, it would be more doable if I wasn't a family man. So that makes it a big, that's a big difference, is like being able, when you have to provide a lot of space for other people, you don't get to like take over an entire house like that.
In Twitch chat, Georg, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Georg, says, I've tried all the color wheels, but the thing that works best for me is to do studies, which is every red moon, is using the HBS sliders. HBS
sliders. Whoa.
Yeah.
Weird.
That's esoteric witchcraft right there.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know how you're doing that. But I can build in some of the more, I don't need to get like all of the content in here right away. Like I don't need to like accurately reproduce the whole background up front. I'm going to be able to like glaze some stuff over the top of it to try to like get a better sense on what's all happening here. It is cool to be, once I'm like trying to reproduce this, getting a little bit more of a sense of what kind of colors might be on the palette, just because I'm realizing what sort of things I'm going to need in order to get the kinds of effects that I'm looking for. And it's giving me I'm creating a little inventory in my brain on what kinds of colors are mixing here. I feel like you don't get that necessarily just by looking at this stuff, unless you're like really super versed in a medium.
Yeah.
It really helps to like go and be confronted face to face and try to make this stuff yourself.
I'm probably gonna do this tonight. I'm right now. I think I'm done with the 3D part of my project, and I'm prepping for painting. So I kind of want to get back into the mindset. And I think this is such a good practice. By the way, Summer Dragoness says in chat that oils make my nose bleed, so I have to avoid those. Getting halfway through a painting and putting my literal blood into it probably won't go over well for most people. LOL. I mean, I don't know. There's a target demographic for that. Yeah, but I don't want that for you, Summer Dragoness.
Yeah. I went to I did a painting workshop, and I spent like a week working on oils. The first time I did it, I wasn't wearing gloves, and I was like, I was using a lot of solvent, and then at the end, by the end of it, like my fingers were all buzzing. Like I could feel like this buzzing sensation throughout my hands. And I was like, well, that if that's 1 week, like what does 10 years of exposure to this stuff do to you? Like it faded away. Like it wasn't permanent nerve damage, but it was the path. I got to see the like trailhead towards permanent nerve damage. And I was like, I'm going to turn back. I'm going to turn back. And the next time I did a painting workshop like that, I wore gloves. Because, don't get, like, with being a digital artist, I'm always yelling at people, don't do things that are going to give you an RSI. I don't want you to, like, work with a tablet in a way that's going to cause you to, like, have serious problems with your hands and not be able to use doorknobs or whatever when you're 25. And then with oils, it's like, don't get nerve damage and cancer. Like, because that's, you're less likely to get an RSI, but you're way more likely to, like, die a horrible death due to poisoning if you're not careful. Like, it's possible to do them safely, I think, more or less, depending on if you've got the right environment, the right equipment, and you're careful. I think it's possible. But don't poison yourself for the sake of making pictures. It's not recommended.
Is it Kim in chat? The YSB YRI.
Yeah, she said how to pronounce her name, and I forget every single time. Isaviri? Isviri?
Yeah, she says she's saying like she wonders if this is why there was like why the old-timey artists were a bit nutty, and then I said that and the overall rampant lead poisoning.
Like the modern artists aren't a little nutty also. I mean, come on.
Hey, it's a self-selecting group of people.
It is. It's self-selecting for sure. Yeah.
We're all, if you're not neurodivergent, you're something. And then Kim says this is the real key way to making great art: solely poisoning yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
and it's pronounced Isviri.
Isviri, yeah. So it's like even Bob Ross, a guy who he wasn't. You wouldn't think of Bob Ross as like a guy who's like an insane, tragic artist, right? Like he wasn't like a tragic soul that was slowly poisoning himself to death. He was like the happy trees guy, but the way he worked with turpentine. He killed him. That was the reason why he died. Like he died from doing the paintings the way he did them. Because like in the videos you can see him, he's got this big brush full of turpentine and he's just slapping it on his easel and spraying turpentine all over his body, like every single painting. And then he died of cancer, I think. It was like that'll get you.
In case anyone's curious, and this is the neurodivergent in me, when I did get into oil, I of course did a lot of research into it. There are like a lot of non-toxic alternatives. It is hard to beat, I think, the traditional solvents and so forth and thinners. But yeah, there's actually literally a book. I forget what it's called, but it's like the new way to oil painting or something like that. That goes through a list of the new oil painting, your essential guide.
Yeah, there's options. There's ways to do it nowadays. It's really cool. I really like working traditionally, and oils especially are a really appealing way to work. So I don't want to scare people away from like having fun. Just have fun responsibly. I'm over here in full dad mode. Hey, listen, don't run too fast inside the painting studio. You could hurt yourself.
Just don't run with scissors.
Yeah. I love how like loose and brush yellow stuff is, because it's like once you get it kind of roughed in, you like look over and you're like, oh, it's done. That's awesome. This is my ambition, is to be able to do the same thing in my own mainline work, is to like spend literally a minute like loosely like blocking in a mountain in a background and then just like calling it a day. Like, all right, whiskey time. Like that was awesome. That painting's gonna live forever now. But it's 3:00 and my dogs are barking. Yeah, there's so much especially at the very end stages of a painting for me that like can be kind of protracted. just because I like want to go over everything and be like, well, okay, now that I've sketched this out, I need to actually define what kind of rocks and like roots there are in here, and like make sure that the perspective is feeling right, and that like the you know that the values are complementary to the figure. And the thing that I really enjoy about Frank's work is like sometimes he'll put in like a dozen figures into a painting, but so often he leaves like a lot of stuff to the imagination, and it's like it's good for the viewer. Like the viewer wants to be involved in the painting, by like getting to like feel in the sense of the space and like the details with their own imagination, and so like underworking it to a degree can actually really assist in that experience and like add a lot for the viewer. And so it's like the temptation is to want to like feel like you're constantly being of service by doing too much. And I think we can actually be better artists and be better to our audiences by sometimes doing less. And finding where that line is a real challenge. God, it feels good. Oh, just a couple of little rough brush strokes and then just going like, never touching that shit again. The end. Yeah, you show too much, you overwork it, destroys the magic. This is the same thing is true in like let's see, Kim's saying like a good horror film, you let the audience fill the horror with their imagination. But I mean, honestly, like I think in a lot of movies, like we've gotten to this point where everybody's trying to constantly over-explain everything in movies, and I just there's a certain amount of ambiguity that I really like. I think is true that is present in like the best films, and yeah, like it doesn't. If you ask somebody, hey, would you prefer to have more detail or less detail? They're always going to be like, I want more. But I think that in our hearts, we actually want a little less. We want a little mystery. We want a little bit of surprise. We want to be left wanting after the experience is over. And, that's not what we say we want, but I think it is what we want deep down. So leaving a little bit out, I think, can really help with that. I'm only saying this out loud because I'm trying to remind myself to actually do it every once in a while. I feel like I used to do it more back in the day, and now the longer I've gone on as an artist, like the less I feel like I do that. And I tend to want to like default to like working harder and overworking a little bit. So I'm trying to hype myself into being able to be a slightly more efficient artist.
There's like two feelings I have, or two layers of a response I have. One is that I think that by leaving ambiguity, we also invite the viewer to participate,
Yeah.
right? In the creation of meaning. There's that, and then the other thing is that there's this idea that I first heard the term from cynics, but I'm sure that the idea is not new. But this idea of post-realism, where there's simplification in a way that kind of suggests the way that something would actually be in naturalistic experience, right? Because we don't experience life precisely. We
No.
experience it through movement and through suggestion and through some symbolism as well, some cognitive symbolism. And so, having I used to really be into really hard edges, like just only hard edges when I would do illustration. And there's something to be said for that, like especially if you're doing
I
comic
used to be
style,
a
but like
real hard-edged guy, if you know what I mean.
yes, but well, everyone here knows I'm super hard edged, the hardest of edges, and I think it's because it was coming from a space of insecurity of like I
They
I
used to
want it
call
to
they
be
used to call you
overly.
the sharpest knife in West Hollywood.
Yeah, they. Yeah, we before we started the stream, a few of us were on chat, and I was just coming up with stupid nicknames that I have in West Hollywood. Which is it's not PG-13. So, but yeah, it's like I think that that came from a place of like insecurity almost of like being it had the equivalent of someone like speaking very confidently to kind of overcome their inherent uncertainty about things, and I've kind of learned to lean into moments of ambiguity in my art is like hey it's like what is in the background like what's in the background of this Frazetta piece it's like there's moon slash sun or what's going on there and not really sure but there's some rock forms things like that and it's beautiful, it's elegant, and it then draws the eye to the foreground. There's all this stuff that's just like there's a sense of movement and flow when I give everything equal detail, then nothing has primacy in the contrast hierarchy, right? And there's no sense of movement. It's just like just dropping a bunch of information, a bunch of visual detail onto the viewer, and then it's just dead on arrival.
Oh, yeah, there's like a certain amount where like I know that in like the entertainment art space, especially, there's this desire to seek out the maximum amount of detail at all times, and they kind of rank how like effective an artist is being by how much crap they can put in a single composition, and it's led to like a kind of like I think overworked, over busy style, the Michael Bay transformersification of concept art. You know,
So real.
yeah. I remember seeing that for the first time and going like, "This is everything wrong with society." Like, I just like, and that was a long time ago. I mean, this is not a new phenomenon. I mean, this feels like it's been true of the entertainment art world for a long time. This like idea of like, the most amount of detail, the most amount of subdivision is like the correct choice almost universally because it shows that you are better as an artist because you're able to put more shit in there. And
There's so
I've
much of
always been a
art
hater.
where
I've been a hater
yeah.
for a long time.
Well, actually, that to dovetail on that, like I've always been concerned about raising that point because I ain't that good, I
Uh
just got
huh.
started a few
So
years
you're
ago.
like, oh, actually, these people that are better at painting than me, they're
They
bad
suck.
for
They're
real.
actually bad, yeah.
They're
So I just
actually
want
bad,
everyone
and I'm
to.
actually better than them.
This stream is literally being recorded. This is going to be used against me in a court of law, and I'm ready for it. I'm ready for that battle. Um, but there is a kind of a thing where maybe I can invoke age here, where sometimes I wonder if I like certain art because I actually like it, or if I like it because it is a flex of technical ability.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's sort of like wow, like just the edge control in this is so awesome, and the strokes here are so great, and it's like, but if you show it to a layperson, they're like, okay, yeah, okay, it's
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, is that a
I think,
horse? Yeah. And you're like, uh
yeah.
huh.
I will say, I think a layperson would, we know this for a fact, that they would love Frazetta's art, and people love your art, Peak, and there's a reason for that. There's story behind it, right? There's interest, and so I actually don't really want to be too much of a hater. Like, I wish I could flex. I don't think that's the be all end all of art, and sometimes when I see in Discord servers people harping on as if that's the case, and then using corollary narratives based on that. Like, you got to grind things out. It's like, not really, you can, I guess, but that's not everything.
Yeah. Gaben's Twitch is saying, yeah, they really prefer more simple concept art that can elicit that Sonic Mario silhouette example feel.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Totally true.
am a child of the '80s, and I love like everything that goes back to pixel art. In part because if you're going to get something that can boil down into pixel art, you have to fucking nail the silhouette. Like things have to read really good small, like really really good small. If you're going to get them down to like an 8-bit sprite and have it be iconic, so I think that stuff is some of the best stuff out there. Is that like ultra minimalist, you know, mid 80s or like early 90s like Japanese like video game art to me like is really incredible because it's able to evoke so much with so little.
Yeah, my sexual awakening was Sabin from Final Fantasy VI. You know, he had implied biceps, you know,
Yeah, that extra pixel in the sprite. You got
was
to
the
see
bicep.
the extra meatiness of his body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually the soul delt insertion right there. It's just that single pixel.
Uh-huh.
And then there's a whole thing of like why I wouldn't say I despise, but like why I just can't hang with the live action adaptations of a lot of the old animation. I'm not like opposed to that project in general,
Well,
but
you
it's
and you
often
and it seems like anybody with a great sense of taste. Like I don't think that those. Oh my god! Part of the reason I'm having a hard time with this, I think, is because I've got these canvases at different sizes. It's throwing me. All those like Disney live action adaptations, those are just like the biggest cash grabs ever. They're like they don't feel at all like an honest like reimagining of a thing that somebody had like an idea on how to like grow or modernize like what was happening in there. It was just they're just trying to like connect the dots to get the money. There's no real vision at all in there.
it's kind of the analog of what you're talking about is like it's the entertainment industry belief that like, oh, if you just add more realistic detail, it'll be better. It's like actually it's literally the opposite direction. You're
Oh
going the opposite
god,
direction.
I just keep
Yeah.
imagining those like side characters from the Little Mermaid, like the crab and the fish. They're
Gross.
just like Cthulhu-like nightmare creatures. Just trying to make like a flounder look cute and adorable, and just turning him into like some sort of weird like acid trip, like bad acid trip monster.
It's so real. There's a chorus of people in chat who are talking about this. I just want to like Gaben's Twitch has a lot of great insight. Just an example, they say if you go ham with the detail and all the extra trinkets, your character's presentation is decentralized and therefore more cluttered for the human mind to comprehend. I mean, amen.
Yep. Yep. Into it. Okay. So I don't know, like I painted out this background, I roughed it in like and I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking killing it. And then I realized that there was this like really complex figure that had like a horse body. I don't know how to draw horses. I have like no sense of it whatsoever. And I'm like, "Oh boy." And I instead of like making like a simple sketch or like notan or whatever, I am just like blocking in blobs, and then I'm like, oh, I'll cut that into a figure later. I'm so fucking lost. I'm in such deep shit right now.
The background looks good though.
Thank you, wife. Yeah, the background looks good. I'll just hang my hat on that for like the next few hours.
Just skip the figures. Just do the background. Call it a
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
Also,
Anya's,
hi, Anya's here.
Anya's finally
Yay.
found her mic. She's been trying to
Hi.
hang out, but like been having weird technical difficulties and stuff the last few days. Oh yeah, by
It's,
the way,
we had workers working right outside of
oh
my
yeah,
window.
yeah,
So if
we
I tried to talk, you would hear drills and yeah, there might be a hurricane though.
Yeah,
So
I was
if we
about to say
suddenly
like
disappear,
stream might be canceled the next couple of days on account of us getting hurricane kicked
Sure.
by
Yeah.
Izelda.
Idalia.
Idalia. Idalia's about to fucking Tatsumaki us into oblivion. So it's
No, we're not on the path though. So,
okay.
but it
We'll
is
see.
looking kind of gray outside this very moment.
Yeah, we're about to get ultra comboed by Idalia pretty bad, and it like it might just be even if we don't get hit bad, it might be like a loss of power for 24 hours or whatever, and that's like that means no stream, flat out. Like, you know what? Even if I were to grab my generator and like set up the generator and like get the whole thing going, I still wouldn't have internet. So like, who fucking cares?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry guys. You know, I am not willing to. We gotta go get some gasoline for the Jenny today.
But the generator is at your parents' house.
Yeah. I can go get it. I just like we need gas for it, one way or the other.
Yeah.
We can keep the gas over in their shed.
In LA, we had the
Yeah, you
tropical
got
storm, which
you
is
got that
yeah.
you got the hurricane, right?
Yeah. It was like as a, and I was freaking out. Yeah, I've been through a hurricane in Texas. It was like a Cat 2 or something, and it was because it was there was infrastructure for it, and people there from the south, they just helped me mentally prep. Earthquakes, I know though. So when the earthquake was happening, I was like, of course, why not? Just throw that in there for fun.
Yeah. Hey, listen, we're all having fun out here, right? You know?
At the end of the world. Yeah, Game and Switch says streaming art at the end of the world. That's the vibe, everyone. Just keep making art as
Yeah. I
civilization
mean,
falls
it's
apart.
like so I finished all of my I was proud. I went on the I was so proud of myself. I went on the Discord to brag. I finished all of my admin tasks before like 7 a.m. today, and I was like, I'm gonna have the whole day to paint. And then I was like, well, I'm having a hard time switching gears, so I'm gonna go play an hour of Armored Core 6. And then Anya gets up and she's like, are you not going to be prepping for the hurricane? And I'm like, I'm trying to beat the chapter 2 boss. Like, but as soon as I beat like the boss for chapter 2, I was like, I was on a mission to go clear out a bunch of stuff from the construction that's happening at our house, and like to get it out to the dump so that we didn't just have like loose boards with nails in it flying around here at 115 miles an hour. And then I got back and I was like, oh, it's just time for breakfast and hop on the stream, and I don't get to actually paint today. It's awesome. Thanks, Ameldia or whatever your name is. Fucking hate you.
Idalia?
Idalia.
Fuck off, Adalia. I hate Adalia. All my homies hate Adalia. Hate it. I don't know. I can't hate it too bad because I'm like just happy that like this one's probably not going to get us bad because there's a chance that this is going to be a really bad hurricane season, and then there's like another. I think there's another one coming in a month or two that's going to be the bad one because I don't think I don't think we're at the bad one yet. And so this one I'm just counting as being like easy, and then we're gonna get a bad one soon. We're gonna get a bad one, like the Gulf is like 115 degrees. It's like a hot tub, and it's just boiling up hurricane juices.
It just gets windy right now.
Oh, it just started to get windy. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's like looks stormy outside, and then I saw just a few blocks away is where the marshalling yard is for all of the bucket trucks, the Florida Power and Light bucket trucks. So we're right near the epicenter of where they're going to try to start re-erecting power poles and everything that gets blown down, which is good. You know, like I think when Ian hit, it was a pretty big one, and we had power back up in like 24 hours, 48 hours, something like that. But we actually ran away from that one, so we were out of town and didn't get to enjoy having power before everybody else. But we're
I
just
have a
gonna like
similar
hang
feeling.
tight and just like enjoy the hurricane and do some hurricane charades or whatever with the kids, and
Mm.
should be fun.
I have a similar feeling about Southern California. Well, we've been waiting for the big earthquake for a minute now.
Oh, yeah.
Um, but we had some pretty significant winter storms that were worse than the tropical storm that just passed through. And I don't know. I had this feeling that like that was prep, and so I don't regret any of the hurricane prep that we did
Oh yeah.
because I feel like there's going to be something worse in the next few years that our infrastructure is not built for because we're basically desert. Right, LA is mostly just desert,
Yeah.
and we don't really absorb water.
That's why they got all those concrete channels, right?
Yes, and I mean even
It's not
before the
just for
storm
escaping the
actually hit.
Terminator.
Yeah, well, it is primarily for that
Okay.
during the off season. We used to play in those. That is not safe. Not safe. Back before the internet.
It does seem cool if you could go skateboarding around in one of those with a bunch of other like skate punks. That seems like a great place to learn new swear words. An aspiring 14-year-old looking to get edgy, hanging out in the drainage ditch.
You just captured my childhood.
Yeah? That sounds like
But
fun.
I was the kid who hung out with those kids and was like a goody two shoes, but
Yeah.
like secretly enjoyed it. You know, I was like, guys, I don't want to. Let's not get caught, and I was the lookout. And now I'm a lawyer. I don't know what that. I'm sure that means something. So
Oh yeah.
a lot of that was like my first exposure to art. Like some of those kids were like really good at street art. Like, really good at calligraphy and just like drawing.
They had to be fast also.
100%. So you learn to develop a command, like just the motor skill of being able to make those marks really fast. I do have to jump off soon. It's nice to finally meet you, Anya.
Nice to meet you too.
And I'm gonna go do lawyer work.
I'm gonna be trying to be around more, just depending on how my day is happening.
Yay. And then just a quick shout out to Adam Morrow, who's also in voice chat.
Oh, Adam's here. Hey, Adam.
Yeah, I snuck in. Listening to you guys tell your battle-hardened hurricane stories, all sorts of. Man, I'm so grateful to be in the middle of like a province where nothing can touch us.
Yeah.
Don't you guys have falling ice, don't you? Isn't that a thing?
No. I mean, yeah, from the sky technically, but it's
Yeah.
soft and fluffy.
Just like me.
Hey, I was just talking with Nino Vesia last night. Do you know Nino? All
Nino?
Canadians know each other, right?
I mean, pretty much. It's getting to be that way, but I don't. Is this like an artist that goes to like?
Yeah, he's an
events?
artist. He said he was just at a con and he like had a big weekend, and I was like, oh, and I just like wonder if how many other of my Canadian friends know Nino.
What's his
Nino Vesia.
her?
Nino Vesia. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name.
I might be able to recognize based off the art because it is a really
His
small
art
circle.
is compared to mine constantly.
Interesting, I wonder if he was in Vancouver because I was at an event last weekend too, but it was a smaller event, and not the major one that most
He
people
told me
were
he
at.
made big money last weekend, and I was like, hell
Really?
yeah.
You should find out where he went for me because I did
that's
not
the
make
thing
big
is
money
like
last weekend.
I got all these questions for years from Canadians. Oh, I'm Canadian. Where should I go? And then I'm like, how the fuck would I know where anything in Canada is? I mean, give me a break.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, maybe I'm having this growing Rolodex of Canadians. I would try to like hook you guys up together so you can go and talk about the Canadian events that we're all being left out of.
I mean, there are some Americans that make their way to like some of the big ones. I've seen some American artists make
On occasion, yeah. It's just like I feel like America is like so spoiled for cons that
yeah.
I was never like, oh, I don't have enough cons. I better look to other countries to have more on the calendar.
Yep. No, you guys are spoiled.
Big time.
What's his name? Nino what?
Vesia. Vecia. I was showing him. I invited him to the server last night. I don't know if he's ever gonna come hang out, but cool guy. Known him for a while. Met at Gen Con. I think I'd seen his work around a little bit. If you like search for me on Pinterest, his work comes up in like the recommendeds underneath all the time.
Oh yeah.
It's one of those.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, some of this one piece in particular, it's got the
longer it goes forward in time, the better he gets and the less he looks like me.
Gotcha.
Which is it's one of those like things. I was looking back through my notes last night at like the kinds of things I was originally going to put in the curriculum for Huckleberry, and I just realized I had all these like ideas and rants and like philosophical ideas that I wanted to put in the curriculum that I kind of forgot about as I was shifting focus. And one of them was the Helsinki bus terminal theory, which I like in part just because it's got such a sort of odd name. Like it's got this kind of esoteric name. But the idea is really simple. Like I read it somewhere, and I actually don't know if this is true or not, but I like the story anyways. And it goes that in Helsinki, the main Helsinki bus terminal, no matter what bus you hop on, you always appear to be going the same direction. That like if you go and try to find your way to somewhere new, if you were to like start to ride the bus and then you realize, oh, I'm like treading along the same path that I'm familiar with, and you hop off the bus and you just go back to the bus terminal and you get it on a different one, you're going to find yourself constantly retreading the same territory over and over again because the buses all go from like start in the same way. and they follow the same path early on at all their routes. But if you stay on the bus long enough, it starts to diverge into these routes that go very far apart. And so the lesson of the story is that stay on the fucking bus. Like if you're trying to get somewhere new, the lesson is stay on the fucking bus. So it's like we are always worried that we are copying our inspirations too closely and that we are not being original enough. And this is something that like every artist seems to worry about all the time. And so the advice that is given in this case is stay on the fucking bus. Just keep doing whatever you were already doing, and it will eventually diverge in a way that you don't expect. And eventually you'll end up where you wanted to go. So like, you know, everyone's worried that like, hey, I look too much like so-and-so. Like my work is constantly being compared to them. How do I invent something new and amazing and wonderful that everyone's going to recognize me for? It's just like, well, keep copying them as hard as you like. Like keep imitating your favorite artists as much as you want. And then just stay on the fucking bus and like wait until it diverges off onto your own path. Like if you just keep making art for a really, really long time, eventually you're going to find yourself creating something that it feels original and like your own. It's just not possible for us to be that good of a copy of another person for that long. So it's just not something we need to worry about. And like if you constantly try to like switch gears all the time, you're just going to keep ending up back at some like well-trodden old territory over and over and over again. So stay on the fucking bus and just like keep going and trust the process, which I don't know, it's served me decently well. I've always like I've never been very afraid of like feeling like I am closely copying another artist. I say this as I am literally full on copying another artist. You know, and so like, you know, I just do it unapologetically, and then over time, all of the little like notes that I've pulled from other people have mixed together in their own original way, along with my own particular sense of taste, and that has accumulated into something that is new and original. And then people go, "Oh, you've got your own style." And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess." Like I didn't aspire to grow a particular style. It was really just an accumulation of all of the things that I like and the people that I stole from, and my commitment to continuing to make things, you know, just for my own sake. And eventually arrived at where we have it today. And that's a process that's available to everybody. Like you don't need to do anything really super fancy to develop that. You just need to like continue to enjoy your favorite artistic references and enjoy them fully.
Yeah, I completely agree. I like with Helsinki bus terminal. Is that what it's called?
It's some blog post I read ages ago, and there's a chance that I've misremembered it entirely. But if the parable still works, I kind of don't care. But yeah, the Helsinki bus terminal theory. It's like, I was like, oh, I got to record a chapter in the curriculum on Helsinki bus terminal theory. Which is maybe true, but like more than that, I don't need to build an entire chapter. I need to record a 5-minute video about it and then just throw it in the pile along with all the other videos. Like I have all these weird little philosophical notes that I've accumulated over the years that I need to find a place for. And my current thought on it is that I don't need to find a place for them specifically. I might just have small, easily digestible little philosophical videos that are sprinkled intermittently throughout the larger curriculum that has like a real focus and purpose.
Right. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot because that's, I mean, in my experience, that has been more true than other things. And I feel like that would help a lot of younger artists or artists who are learning to give themselves the green light to actually not get off the bus, like you said.
Yeah.
And I think that's
yeah, everyone's worried that, well, what I see, the alternative to staying on the bus and just copying your favorite artist closely is often this experience of just doing a really shitty copy. Like you do this thing where you go like, well, I'm going to copy them, but not the good parts. I don't know if you've ever. Ooh, I heard some lightning in the distance.
Yeah, I wonder if you're hearing it from me here or from your own place.
Oh, I don't know.
Because I am right by the window.
Yeah, the inker says people will always find someone to compare you with, which is true. Like, they're always going to be, oftentimes, things you've never heard of before. They're going to be like, have you ever heard of this anime? And it's like, no. Oh, your thing looks just like it. It's like technically a compliment, but it doesn't feel great.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think you're right. And it's also like understanding that like a lot of the people that you love and that you're studying from, probably many of them went through the same process of
Everyone, yeah.
everyone. And so you're like, it's less that you're ripping off of one person, but you're imbibing in a lineage.
Yeah, there's a chain, and it's like, this is one of those things, like, I've seen artists get really, really fussed over this idea that they're getting ripped off, their style is getting stolen. And I always thought of this idea that there's this huge chain that goes all the way back to caveman times.
Yes.
And like whoever first like sprayed ink or sprayed animal blood over like a handprint or whatever, some other caveman came along and went like, oh, that's a fucking good idea, I'm going to copy that.
Everything's a derivative off of buffalo blood or whatever smeared on.
Yeah, that cave in France or whatever is like the original, and all of us are a bunch of fucking hacks. Everybody else besides that one caveman is a huge hack. And so like I think of the idea of like, you know, I'm participating in this great chain, and then the highest honor you could get as an artist is having links that come down the chain from you. Like you're gonna be borrowing from the chain above you, regardless of what you try to do. But you don't, unless you're successful, you're never going to get a chain that comes down from you to other people. And so that is what so when I see somebody who's copying me really closely, or whose work gets compared to mine really closely, instead of seeing them as competition, I always see it as like this honor of like, oh, I might actually be somewhere in the middle of this chain, and that like I might have artistic descendants that are down the line, and a little bit of my work and my style is going to carry on long after like anybody even remembers any of the stuff I've made. And like that's the best possible outcome that we can get as an artist. So I'm always very happy for it. And people get nervous about it. Like sometimes I'll DM people who I can tell are like copying me, and I'll be like, hey, what's going on? And they'll be like, oh my God, it's you. Like it's usually a giveaway that they like are already pretty familiar with me. And you know, it's always nice. Like it's an opportunity to be nice to somebody who cares. Like to have like one of your artistic influences like reach out and like say nice things about your work. I've had that happen a couple of times where someone who I really looked up to like noticed me at a con and stopped and like complimented my work. It was a big moment. So like it's anytime I see my work, it's not only this like selfish opportunity to be able to say, hey, look, like I'm making an impact, but also it's an opportunity to like be generous with my time towards somebody else who like would, you know, really care. And that's fun too. So it's this nice moment that kind of cuts both ways. I don't think this horse ass is doing too bad. This horse ass is kind of happening.
Your avatar is covering it in the reference picture.
Oh my God,
so
you can't even see the horse's ass here?
no, you can see yours, but not the other one.
Okay,
now
yeah. Well, how about we can cover this one up and say that mine's better? Be like, I'm beating Frank Frazetta at his own game today. Yeah, this has got to be the most tedious roundabout way of trying to accomplish the task that I've set out for myself today. But I'm enjoying the hell out of it, and I'm not regretting my choices. I also don't know how else I was supposed to do it. So,
is this the first master study of the series?
Master study of the series?
Yeah, like the your 50+ studies that you've been doing.
Ooh, yeah, I think it is.
Right
a good
on.
point.
What made you decide to do that today? What are you hoping to get out of this?
Well, we got thank you for asking, Adam. The challenge this week is the Frank Frazetta Tribute Challenge. And so you can go and anybody who puts in an application before Friday at noon Eastern, which is when I'm going to start the stream on Friday, will get featured as an entrant in the challenge. So this was recommended. This is a challenge recommended by Ace, Wonder Kid of the server Ace. They recommended a Frank Frazetta challenge, which I immediately interpreted as like, yeah, you can make a Frank Frazetta style painting, like make the thing that you normally make in the Frank Frazetta style, or you could make use a Frank Frazetta subject and do it in your own style, which I'm seeing Jazz is like doing like some sketches for like a bunny girl, but like doing a Frank Frazetta style thing, but like anime style, which I think is really cool.
Right.
So there's a lot of it's a wide open idea on like how you want to play with it, and yeah, just anything that you want to contribute before Friday noon Eastern. Just look for the channel for the weekly challenge, and people apparently already posting some stuff up. I'm not going to take a look at it until Friday so I can get a real reaction live on stream. And then we're being joined by Sarah Frazetta, Frank's granddaughter, who manages the Frazetta Girls brand and like sells his art every single day on the internet. She's a local around me, and we become friends over the last couple of years. And I've invited her to come take a look at the stuff on Friday. So she's going to be joining us and hanging out for a little bit on Friday, taking a look at the challenge entries, which is going to be really cool.
That's awesome.
So
That's
she's
super
really
cool.
great, and she is mega stoked that we are doing a tribute to her grandfather.
So all fingers crossed that the power doesn't go out.
All fingers crossed that we don't get fucking hurricane kicked into oblivion this week. She's going to be in Savannah though, so she's going to be able to dial in even if Sarasota gets pounded. But I will not be. So if I don't have power on Friday, I will probably look at the entries on Monday, but don't count on it. If you're planning on entering, I would recommend getting in sooner rather than later, just because. I think we're not going to get walloped by this one. We'll be fine. I think. And then and we're going to look at this stuff on Friday. Everything's going to be normal. Everything's going to be normal, and my house isn't going to get flooded, and I am not going to be thrown into ruin by Hurricane Imelda or whatever it's called.
Imelda.
Hurricane Izelda. I don't know what's the hurricane
Idalia.
called? Idalia.
Idalia.
Yeah, Jesus. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to all the Idalias in chat. Did you say she's in Savannah? Yeah, I'm fucking blowing up her OPSEC. I don't know what she's doing in Savannah. Is there something happening in Savannah? Yeah, sorry for blowing up your OPSEC, Sarah. All my homies hate Idalia. That's right, Creative Caliber. All of our homies hate Idalia. All right, so I feel pretty good about this blocking at this point. I feel like I can go in and start carving some details and like getting in there. I'm gonna do that on a separate layer. So right now I've got this actually laid out kind of like a painting, with like a ground, and then I've got like these rough washes going over the top, and then I'm like building the characters up on top of it, and it's like fully layered, and there's like not even a lot of painting around the characters to try to blend in the background too much. So I could parallax this stuff. I could animate it and fly off into the distance. Oh, and I'm only an hour in. Every time it's like not that far into the time, and I go, oh my god, I'm like have so much time left. I look up 10 minutes later, and I'm 10 minutes over on time. Oh, by the way, I forgot at the top of the thing. Thanks CJ Combe and Craft and Fable for the subs. Really appreciate it. People keep subbing when I'm offline. I think they're intimidated by subbing while I'm around. You don't need to be intimidated. You're allowed to sub while I'm here. It's okay.
It's because of your very intimidating voice, Pete.
Yeah. That was my suspicion. This guy's got a lot going on in the face. I like this sort of minimalist face that I've kind of plotted out here. This is cool, like doing this like super minimalist. Like Frank did this a bunch where he like really like drowned everything out in shadow. It's a very cool look. I think that, yeah, the AI tried to like give this guy eyes and it made him like super cross-eyed. I don't know what the high resolution painting is. I am not going to give him that like crazy cross-eyed look. I'm going to try to see if I can get it to be somewhat sensible.
Oh, is this upscaled?
Yeah, I ran it through Gigapixel before I brought it in because the version that I found on Pinterest was pretty bad. And then I tried using the Photoshop upscaler, and it took out all of the brush strokes. It's like, you're not going to need those. You don't need those.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, so Jazz, I got some trivia for you.
Oh, all right.
Dustin was posting all of the stats for the server up in the mod area. Guess who is by far and away the most active voice chatter on the server? Number one king of voice chat. Who do you think it is?
In terms of like how much time they spend in
Yes.
voice chat. God.
Somehow sounds like a trick question.
It has the chance of being me.
It is
not.
it is 1,000% you. you are the voice chat champ.
Oh, okay, all right.
You're the all-time voice chat champ here on Huckleberry. So congratulations. I wanted to award you when you showed up today. And I know you would because you are on voice chat like way more than everybody else on the server.
Okay.
You're like you've like made a home here. Like they're starting to forward your mail over to the server now.
All right. Well, I'm not sure if I feel acknowledged or called out. Thanks. I think.
I'm gonna say it's a good thing. I appreciate you holding down the fort so dang much. Oh, Moon Colony is rating us with 42 viewers. Hey, Moon Colony people, how's it going? I haven't seen you in a bit. Thank you for the raid. Who do I owe the honor? I mean, who's steering the ship today? Moon Colony also has a pretty good Discord server. I would hang out there all the time before I set up the Huckleberry server, and they've got some really great artists. Some of their like staff artists over at Moon Colony hang out in the voice chat and just chit chat all day. And they've got a very nice mod named Jaden, who I like quite a bit.
What's Moon Colony?
Moon Colony is an outsourcing studio that's outside the U.S., but I'm not sure where. I don't work there. But yeah, when I was recommended server, when I was like, oh, I want to find some cool new art servers, like they were one of the first ones that got recommended to me, and so I spent a lot of time over there. See, this is okay. So this is one of the things about oil painting that gets me, is like when you start to thin out this like really dark color. With oil paint, when it like smears, you get this the places where there's like less saturation, you get like this like yellow showing through. While if I were to do the same thing with digital paint, you know, it's just going to show through whatever color is underneath. So it doesn't actually like spread out into any color. Like there's no color to the black. It's like this totally desaturated, worthless black. So if I wanted to add in that sense of the yellow underneath, I need to like manually go in and pick a yellow and then repaint it at the edges of where this ends, or I need to be doing something like a gradient map to be able to have it smooth out into a color that is like got a little bit of saturation in it.
You could do it with the multiply.
Yeah, the multiply will do it. Yeah, where to a degree, but I don't know. I've kind of already got this down. Oh, let's see. You're saying like use a multiply with the dark yellow?
Yeah, something like that.
Because it'll mix straight down into the black, and then it'll never lighten the black, but it will add a little bit of extra. You can get a little bit of extra stuff around the edges. It's nice. Let's see. What was I go all the way saturated? Yeah, okay. Yeah, that gives me a little something. A little freebie. Yeah, getting a little bit of extra accidental color mixing in places is part of what my usual color process provides for me, because you know, when stuff goes out of the lines and you get that little extra like color that's poking out at the corners, to me that's like that's like when you're eating like fried food and you get those little bits of just like crispy dough at the edges. That's delicious. That's where the flavor lives for me when it comes to painting. And so I'm always looking to find those, to like make sure that those little crispy bits are like coming out, because I'm going to be grabbing those and like, you know, using them to mix into the color palette more broadly. Oh, I forgot there's this fucking giant glowing moon thing back here.
Yeah, and the flying things.
And the flying things. Yeah, I should bop those in real quick. Dang. And like the proportion on all of these elements is like not even close to perfect, because I've got there's like the distance from the tops of these mountains to the head is like not correct. But
The colors look pretty good. Were you like what do you call it?
I didn't
Picking them over the other one, or did you just?
No. I was trying to like reproduce it naturally.
Nice.
So my layer stack is going to get messy now. Whatever. I'm trying to layer in the colors one on top of each other more like paint. And I'm trying to sample from other parts of the canvas to keep the color palette coherent, because I don't trust myself to pull the colors the same way every single time. So once I get like a pure tone down somewhere, I'm trying to use it. I'm trying to resample it as much as possible to make sure that it's being as consistent as possible throughout the rest of the color palette. I gotta get in the habit of using the good color picker. There we go.
Max is asking what you mean by the crispy bits.
The crispy bits. It's like, you know, like there's these little bits that pop out over here that are like the wrong color. Whenever you start using a blending mode and stuff and you kind of miss on the edges, like you get these little bits that pop out, and it's like they have colors that are ultimately going to be useful in other parts of the composition.
Oh, Pete,
Mm-hmm.
I've been like trying to like grow my Twitter or whatever, and I'm like meeting other artists in the process of doing that.
Uh-huh.
I've sort of like made a couple friends, and I've made friends with a couple people who have painting styles that I really admire, because I keep commenting that I admire their painting styles and asking them how they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they're all kind of doing what you said. Like you were telling me off for using like normal blending modes too much and getting like muddy colors as a result.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks like they all have these like watercolory styles that have like random colors in them, and the way they're doing it is like blending modes and gradient maps apparently.
Uh-huh. There's a video I want to make called the name I had planned out for it was The Secret Language That All Digital Artists Speak, and be like, I want people to go like, what the fuck is he talking about? And like the secret language is blending modes, like because all the blending modes are all the same across all digital art platforms, whether it's like video or like graphic, graphic design, motion graphics, like all software suites, even in like Procreate that tries to be extra different and stuff, and Krita, which like seems to hate being like other software the most. All of them have the same blending modes, and I don't know the history of it. I need to look it up for the video to figure out why the hell everyone always uses the same terminology for everything. But it's like the more you dive into the way that all digital artists work, it's like all of them are relying on blending modes in like very specific ways to develop their process. And I don't think there's a lot of cultural knowledge of it outside the digital art sphere. Because like the average art enjoyer, if they're not doing stuff themselves, if you say that you're using a multiply layer or using multiply, they won't know what the fuck you're talking about. But literally everyone, whether they're a video editor or like motion graphics or doing vectors or whatever, if they've had any time at all in digital art, they will know exactly what you're talking about. Everyone knows this stuff, but it's like I don't feel like anyone acknowledges that, which is weird to me.
Yeah, it's like not talked about a ton in like even educational content.
It's taken kind of for granted that like there's this like set of words that we all know what they are generally, but none of us know exactly how they work specifically, and we all share the language together, you know?
Yeah. It's weird.
It is
I
weird.
think you're
isn't
onto
it?
something. Yeah.
And that like
Max has a question about line art and block-in approach.
Oh yeah? Well, let's see. How does one switch from doing a line art approach to doing block-in approach? Man, I don't know. I just tried doing it the other week. I've only tried to do that, like, I've done that less than 10 times ever. Oh wait, are you thinking about like building them as like 3D blocks, or like block-in as like color blocks? Because like I guess I started doing that with my sketches into color blocks almost immediately, just because for the studies, just because like trying to do everything as line art first felt so burdensome that I like immediately tried to avoid doing it, and it was just sort of intuitive to do that. I don't know if there's like I don't think I have any notes on process. It's just like I just think it's easy. Like, for the purpose of doing a study, I think it's easy. But I don't think I would concept like that. I don't think I would draw an original idea by creating a like color blocks first. I think that sounds hard.
Some people do it that way and get really good results, though. I was trying to like teach myself to do it that way, and it was hard. I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
but I gave
Yiming
up
Lee
pretty
was
early.
like showing off like some process stuff, and I wasn't sure if it was a study or if it was original. And he was like starting with some sort of strange geometric shape and then carving into it with like the lasso tool, and I was like, I don't know. Well, I'm never gonna do that.
So that skill set comes down to hi everybody.
Hey.
By the way.
Oh, hey, bud.
good to see you guys.
See you,
that skill set comes down to thinking from the outside in, but you have to be able to see things that you like outside in to apply that to your own work. There's like a little bridge. It's the same thing as like when you first see color theory and you actually, look at something and instantly can see something not as the basic colors, but as like, oh, that's the influence of purple, even though it looks like a gray cloud or something like that.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with outside in thinking, right? You have to look at a piece and immediately see those exterior silhouettes and how they interact. And this is actually huge with coloring, particularly in coloring comics, because in comics they have, and this was true for animation, but it's more important in comics, the readability comes from the large color shapes that are in there, right? So a lot of times when people thinking about coloring in comics, they think about just coloring the individual forms, and it can get kind of messy when they don't look at something and go, okay, this block of buildings is going to look like this block of color, and the character is going to look like this spot of color and stuff like that. So for both drawing and for coloring, it is a valuable approach. It's not necessary. Some people never do it. But if you want to get into it, the secret is to learn how to see outside in rather than inside out.
Yeah, it always struck me as one of those seeing things, which is why my first reaction watching somebody do it is not like, oh, I should learn that. It's more like, well, I don't see the world that way. I guess I'll just give up on it. Because it's like, if there's some things that like you can make a piece of art look a certain way because that, like, if you follow the painting process, like if you do the work with the tools in a certain way, it'll create that look. And then there's other painting processes or other like art processes that are built more from like the way that you adjust your perception. And those, like, if you don't see the world that way, if you don't interpret the world in that way specifically, it becomes like nearly inaccessible to you. Like, I think it might be trainable, but it's like, I don't know. I'd say just like don't do it because I think the most people that do work in a certain way because like of the way that they like perceive it, like rather than it being like a tool process. Like, I think they see that way naturally. I don't think it's like that they worked up a skill. I think that they just looked at the problem and said, this, I can just see this by carving from the outside in. And everybody else looks at it and goes like, I don't get what you're doing. And that's fine. Like, I there's differences in the way that we perceive stuff. And like, there are work processes that work better or worse for people based off of the natural like ways that they perceive. And it's probably good to like experiment with it to try it all out, especially if like you haven't settled on a work, like if you haven't settled on your own process, like it's really important to like try out a lot of stuff and see what actually gels for you. But I really don't think it's incumbent on anybody to have to like think about art a certain way or work in a particular style. It's not important to like adapt to like a way of seeing the world just because you like somebody else's art.
I don't disagree with you in terms of like necessity. Like I said, people work different ways and they all get to a result that works. I do think it's useful. Now, if somebody wants to do it, then I would encourage them to do it. And if they're finding success not doing that, then I wouldn't tell them to change it. But for people who wanted to know how to do it and why to do it, I would say the why. And this really depends on what kind of work you're doing. So in comics and animation, you have to draw things turning in space a lot, and they have to stay on model, right? So this is the thing that I've encountered. I don't know how many pages of comics I've drawn, but it's like hundreds and hundreds of pages of comics. And when you go through that with different writers and different scripts and different subject matters, you will just come across some things that one method is just not working, right? Like, your anatomy, your shapes, but when you put the camera over here or you use that perspective, you're just hitting a wall. And it's just like the worst drawing day. Even though you are, 10 pages into the 5th issue of this book, and all of a sudden you're like, why can't I see this? That's when having another way to look at the art comes really in handy, right? So some people are very gesture focused. Some are very shape focused. Some, draw cylinders and spheres and stuff like that. Some outside, inside, some composition and scribble. Literally, you can find a Hall of Fame artist to use whatever method of choice. Yeah. But if you can switch it up a little bit and go, ooh, natural construction isn't working for me, let me use Walt Simonson's scribble method. That might unlock it. And you're like, now I can see it. Because when I think of, say, this crowd scene, I'm thinking too much in terms of individual figures. And that works great for most of the stuff that I do. But for some reason that I can't explain, there's a block. And this has unlocked it for me. So that's the practical. Is
raiding us now, too. Thanks for the raid.
Hey, that's what's up.
We got 2 raids today. This is a double raid day. I'm feeling very seen, very loved.
Nice.
Thank you, Kios Masons.
On your way.
So the how of it is just to really take art that you like and redo it with that method and just keep simplifying, because the answer is in the abstract, right? It's in translating abstract shapes and abstract rhythms into the illusion of literal shapes and literal rhythms.
Yeah.
So if you just study stuff like, so the way you're studying now, if you literally just studied that in pen scribble, that part of your brain would just start to open up, you know? So if people wanted to learn it, that's how, and it does have a use, but it's absolutely not necessary.
Yeah, I just I see a lot of people, they like get really settled on a particular work method because they want to they really love a certain artist's work and they just wish that they were that person. And you know, I found a lot of people get stuck in that way. Like learning a bunch of different methods and like studying to like learn new methods is great. It's just when it starts to like roll into that like loss of identity and this feeling of like wishing you were somebody else and setting aside the things that you're naturally good at for the sake of this like identity that maybe isn't even really a good fit for you. That's the point where I just start to tell people like, hey, don't worry about it. But yeah, I mean, you're right. Like, I mean, knowing having more options is always good. It's just, again, like it's one of those things that is like really great to have if you can, if you're adding one more specialty and like you already have something mastered and you want to like master something new, it can be really good. But I would be worried if somebody like didn't already have like an established like identity for themselves and was like trying to force themselves to do something that they didn't understand.
Yeah, I do think that that's a separate issue. And when it comes to studying fundamentals, I think we both agree, stay on course, and don't substitute what your ego is asking you for just learning how to properly do something on a basic level. What I tell people who are really pulled by their influences, I usually give the opposite advice that most people give. I say, copy that influence as closely as possible.
That's the advice I just gave earlier that you missed. Keep going.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I agree with that. Like literally, because I believe in going through your influences, not around them.
That's exactly the advice I gave.
Yeah.
It's good advice.
You know what I mean? You figure out exactly what you love about them. And the crazy thing is, so many popular artists are just what they love, except they do this part differently.
Yeah.
And they have very successful careers, right? And I really love artist X, except when they draw this. And I would draw this part that way. And usually subconsciously, there's an element of the approach that as a young artist, you don't understand that it's different. You don't understand that it comes from your personality and your worldview. It's not purely aesthetic. But go through take that maturity process through what you love. Don't try to avoid it. Because it'll always, it'll just be this nasty thing in your subconscious.
Because like as I was saying, like the risk of like when you try to avoid it, what you do is you go like, well, I can't look too much like Mike Mignola, right? So you go, I can't look too much like Mike Mignola, so you just do a shittier Mike Mignola instead of a good Mike Mignola impression.
Right.
And like that is the classic like next step for somebody who's trying to avoid looking too much like their influences is to look like the absolute, all the bad habits of their influences combined with their own bad habits into something that doesn't work for anyone. If you're going to rip somebody off, do a good job of it.
Yeah. I say do it almost as if you're being paid. Like that person broke their hand and they're like, I'll give you $1 million if you can do this exactly as I did it.
Yeah.
And copy them that way, because what happens is, so what you're talking about the shitty version, I think that comes from two things. One, people don't learn their fundamentals, but also the thing that we don't talk about is some of that is subconscious, right? Like one of the biggest struggles in art is taking your idea of things and not taking the subconscious idea and drawing it. Like if I say cat, people will have the subconscious idea of a cat. They won't literally close their eyes and go over every detail like a rendering computer. That cat.
That reminds me. I was going to post a photo of my cat. I was going to show you guys my cat. I promised that I was going to bring a cat photo, and I forgot yesterday. So here, while you're talking, I'm gonna pull up my cat photo.
I'm just bringing up the cat because of that amazing cat that was in the painting last week.
Oh yeah.
But one of my favorite drawing I've seen in like a month.
Very good cat.
My favorite too.
Here's my kitty. We got it in the front.
I see that. Very cool. That's awesome.
Lightning Louie. I don't know what killed him, but it was a long time before I met him.
Jeez. Does she still have a skeleton, like a real human skeleton somewhere?
I don't have the real human skeleton anymore.
Okay.
I did not want to travel with it.
Yeah,
I,
Anya
like last
refused to bring it
time
with
they
us to
said no,
Florida. We were moving away.
He's behind.
That's,
Those are
that's
some punk rock vertebrae. Are they really spiky like that?
Yeah, I guess. And then there's
Holy
some
shit.
floating bones that are down here, but it's a real articulated medical skeleton. Yeah. So what happened was my dad's friend's dad was a school principal back in the 1950s, and he fished a bunch of medical supplies out, not medical supplies, like medical instructional material out of a dumpster, including this cat inside of an acrylic case, a human body, a human skeleton, and a snake, which was apparently in bad shape. And so he died, and his son was cleaning out his house along with my dad. And they're like, well, we got to do something with all this stuff. And so my dad calls me up and goes, do you want a skeleton? And I'm like, yes, I want a skeleton. And he's like, how about a cat? I was like, give me the cat. He's like, how about the snake? The snake's in bad shape. I go, no, don't give me the snake. So he brought this cat over. It's immaculate. It's incredible. We actually got a new, the acrylic case had actually warped and yellowed and was like really gross looking. It had tape sticking to it and stuff. We threw it out. We got a custom new acrylic shell made that was like shinier and more durable to make sure that our cat is kept safe. And then the person, Dustin's got some photos on his Instagram, but they were in pretty bad shape. A lot of the articulation had rusted apart, and so lots of finger bones and toe bones and stuff were all loose. And the rib cage had kind of gotten smashed in a little bit. All the stuff that was holding the sternum in was made of like this sort of, it's like 120 years old. So it was like this wax and fabric or whatever that had kind of gotten torn up. And then I think might have been two people, because the head was a different color than the body. The head looked a lot newer and in better shape than the body. And so it might have been two bodies jammed together for display purposes. But yeah, I thought you guys might enjoy that. That's a little more lore for you on today's stream. Okay. As you were at some point and you said cat. I'm sorry, I interrupted. I just needed to put
I knew the risks. I knew the risks. I've seen cats on the internet. I know how that goes. No, that was it though, man. It's really just when you take that stuff out of your subconscious and you get to actually put energy and effort towards your influences in a detailed way, you find out exactly why you like that stuff, and you take what you really want, not what you think you want. That's basically it.
Yeah, it's an interesting balance. It's like, because we're all going to be taking some amount of influences from places all the time. But the question is that are we going to be in control of that process or not? Or are we just going to like let whatever happens? I think like when it comes to art, like a lot of what we like in art is stuff that's done on purpose. It's intentional. And like I think borrowing from influences needs to be as intentional as everything else.
Pete, now might be a good time to mention the free resources on the website.
Oh, fuck yeah. Dustin's hitting me with the reminders. Okay, so I was working this weekend a little bit on the Huckleberry.art website, and one of the things I was getting set up was I had made some free resources, my very minimalist brush pack, along with my old school gradient maps from older versions of Photoshop, along with the newer ones I've made, and then also like a Photoshop action that I use to delete out the white from a drawing to leave just the lines. Those are all up for free on the Huckleberry.art store. We don't actually have anything we're charging money for. It's just free stuff on there right now. So if you go to Huckleberry.art, you can go get that stuff today. And when you buy it, you're gonna probably sign up for our mailing list and keep in touch with us as we gear up and get more stuff done. So that's why we've got it up there as like bait to try to get people up on the mailing list. And so if that's all stuff that sounds like you would like, go hop up there and grab it. It's costs $0. And my plan is, if anybody has anything they want to volunteer to to add resources to there, whether they're like reference packs, brush packs, Photoshop actions, gradients, whatever. If you want, I would be happy to include credit and link on there, and we will put it up on the Huckleberry.art website and distribute it out to the community through that space. I'd love to feature your stuff. Man, this guy's got a lot of going on in the torso area. This guy's got a lot going on all over the dang place. Frank Frazetta sure likes his muscles.
Yeah, every Frank Frazetta painting is like a muscle man stepping over some rocks with like a naked lady on his shoulder.
It's not everyone, but it is a lot of them, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, and like 50% of the time he's fighting a tiger. On the other 50% of the time, it's like a dinosaur.
There's a couple of them where it's a really muscular guy with his legs wrapped around a snake.
Yeah.
It's like a guy has to fight a python, but he needs to get the python between his legs first.
Does that speak to you as a Florida man?
Just thinking, I think the suggestiveness of Frank Frazetta's work is fairly obvious at times, and then there's other times where it's extra obvious. We were talking about that off air a little bit, about the sort of grappling with the idea of such overt symbolism, it's sort of such an overt perspective from an artist. The artist, it's always nice to see an artist's perspective leak through in their work, because you feel like there's another person on the other side of the canvas. It's always great to see a person's personality and their identity, their worldview show up. And then sometimes you get an artist like Frank Frazetta where it's just very, very overt sort of fantasies and themes being expressed with intense clarity, and you go well, I think we know what that guy was thinking about. You wonder where is the eye leading us in this composition? You're oh, it's the ass. He was an ass man. I see it. Let's see. Whatever the reference is has this very, very high chance of crashing on the newest version of Photoshop. Thank God I'm every time it happens though, it makes me want to save my my study so I don't lose progress halfway through. Huckleberry studies number 56. Took me 55 of them to get to a master study. All right, back to work. There's
Frank,
what's up?
I was just gonna say on your last point, I don't remember where it was. It might have been a foreword in some art book or something. But Frank literally just went on a tangent about how much he loved butts.
Yeah.
He was just
Wait, do you need to say it though? Do you need to do you need to say it out loud? I mean, we've seen the paintings.
Dude, he was has God made anything better than a butt?
Yeah. No, he's a very. I've seen some interviews with. He's a very straightforward guy. He seems you get what you pay for with Frank Frazetta. You know.
Yep.
This reminds me. Have you guys seen the Twitter paperback paradise?
Oh, we got wait. Did we just? Oh no, I got a tier 1 sub from Mitsu Mania. Thank you so much. I thought we got rated a third time there. I was unreal. So what was it? Twitter, but paperback Twitter paradise?
I'll link it.
What are we getting ourselves into? What are you linking?
You can see in the thumbnail.
Okay.
Like a Twitter that makes fake paperback books.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Is it just where it's real paperback covers, but it's they've redone the text?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen one of those. I love it.
Yeah. Man had a good idea.
I don't know if it's the same one or if there's like one of them's the ripoff and one of them's the real one. Oh, LGN Art, thank you so much for the Prime sub. Damn, everyone's subbing right now. Must be doing a good job. People must like the study stuff. Thank you guys so much for subbing to the channel.
Oh god, I keep getting myself into trouble with the images I picked to do studies of.
Yeah,
They're
why?
always
What
hyper
happened?
detailed.
Too detailed?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I was.
mean, I
gonna,
could just
I didn't want to
ignore
pick a
the
too
detail.
detailed Frank Frazetta piece here, and now I'm 20 minutes out from finishing it, and like, I haven't even drawn the butt yet. It's the most important part.
Yeah. I know how you feel.
Maybe you should get to it.
Get that the ass needs attention. That's what the wife is saying.
Always listen to wife.
Yeah, always listen.
Yes.
To wife.
Pretty much.
There's something about some of these Frank Frazetta girls. They don't even necessarily. They're stylized in a way that is like kind of unique to him. Like the faces, they look very cartoony at times in a way that is like. It looks less like a supermodel and more like a blow up doll.
Yeah, it's like just a Frank Frazetta face. I don't think anyone else draws them like quite the same way.
Right. He's capable of it. I mean, he's capable of creating incredible realism when he wants to. He's also capable of stylizing things to a sort of absurd degree. And also, I'm not sure what all the details on this look like in the painting because having run this through an AI upscaler, I'm getting this sense of like weird AI shapiness that if someone had shown this to me, I would have presumed it came out of an AI had I not like already seen the painting before.
Yeah, right. Oh man, I've been having a huge amount of fun doing the like weekly challenge or whatever.
Oh, good. Yeah, I've been hearing that you're the second person today that's been like, this was a good one. This is a good challenge.
Yeah.
I was checking out your sketches, the bunny girls. Let's comment on one of them. I love the idea.
Oh, okay. I ended up not. Well, it's not too late to change.
I mean, you know,
I ended
you
up
can do whatever you
developing
want. I'm just saying that
yeah,
it's an interesting track to go on.
Yeah. I mean, I was really happy with how those thumbnails turned out. Actually, I was like, oh shit, I have like a few good ones. This doesn't usually happen.
I think sometimes it really helps to have a little bit of extra direction, because like when the problem that I think a lot of people run into, I was having this conversation with somebody last night, is that you end up in a situation where you're like, I want to make something cool, but what's cool? Like, what's the coolest possible idea? And it like it's not really, there's not really a thing that is going to be like the coolest idea. You really just need to pick anything and go with it, because like an idea executed well looks cool.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, it can be basically anything. And so if somebody gives you a really like firm definition of what you should be working on, and you just like commit to that idea, all-time record shattered is it just said. What is making it say all-time record shattered? 200 bits from Meat Suit Mania. Thank you so much. I don't think I've gotten bits before. I don't know what bits are 100%. Oh, and Microdose
Dude,
gave
I
a
have no
Prime
idea
sub.
what bits are.
Huh? What are bits?
I have no idea.
Oh, really? You sub
Anybody
too.
knows what bits are?
Bits are just it's like a tip. It's just money.
Yeah? Is a bit like 1 penny?
I think it's I don't know the conversion, but it's pretty low. But so you can so it's more fun.
You're saying those
numbers
bits are
big.
worthless. You're saying those
Bit-
bits
bits-
are garbage.
The value in the bit is the intent of the giver, which is priceless.
It's like a tip. I think it's $1. Oh, so you gave me $200, or is that what was 200 bits $1?
Oh, 1 cent per bit.
1 cent per
Oh,
bit.
it is a cent per bit.
$2.
There you go.
Listen, I love to. I used to keep a $2 bill sandwiched with my other cash as a way of trying to hope that it would magnetize more money to it. It's kind of like I'm not a particularly superstitious person, but there was this thing where I was like, oh, I have this $2 bill, and I'll keep it with this money, and then like immediately after that point, I had like some really good cons, and the money pile started to grow. And so I was like, oh, maybe I'll just keep, whenever I want a money pile to grow, I'll keep a $2 bill next to it as like a good luck charm to attract more cash. So getting a $2 tip, I'll take it. Maybe those 200 bits are going to attract a whole lot more bits. It's not impossible.
The seal's been broken.
Yeah, all-time record, 39% level 2. I don't know what that means. 4 subs, 300 bits, it says. Oh, I got 100 bits from Dammy Killer 37. Thank you so much. It's probably all good. I think it's actually really good, and for some reason today this stream is going great. Like in terms of you guys giving me free stuff. Like theoretically great should be for you because the stream is for the audience and not for me, but you guys are making it a really good one for me. I'm having a great time with this painting, and you guys are showering me with like gold and coins.
Just imagine how much you would get if you went and focused on the butt.
Oh my god. Oh, no, it's not, we're not there yet. What is it? Is this TOS? Is this painting TOS? Do I need to do I need to like there, get it?
No, I think
Get him in
figure
the
drawing.
way?
You can get away with it. I think it's okay in figure drawing.
Think it's all right? Oh boy. You can see full on crack. I'm pretty sure if it was a real person, you definitely can't show that.
Oh yeah.
But then on thumbnail though, as people are browsing around, they're like, what should I watch? Is there someone streaming art? Yes, there is. A notoriously saucy artist, Peter Mohrbacher, known for his incredibly erotic takes on the angels. You guys don't know it, but this has quietly been an exercise in eroticism the whole time.
I mean,
Elle throws up in her mouth a little bit.
I don't know, Pete. The head of your the last angel you did, the blue and yellow one,
Don't say head.
kind of looks like something.
You
know.
No, I mean it
think.
does play. I have been saying for a long time that quietly, that artists are all a little bit perverted for their art supplies. This has been one of my hot takes for a long time.
Oh,
I've said it many times on the Discord, but I don't think I've ever said it on stream. I'm not gonna get into it today.
Okay. Well, it's not just figuratively true, but literally true, because I've had the experience twice now of having like a favorite artist who I like adore their like fantasy art basically. And then I like find them on another website and it turns out they're like a hentai artist. Yeah.
That's the path for a lot of anime artists though, is like, I'm gonna get really good at art, and then they're like, I can't figure out how to make all of my skills make money. Oh, that guy over there is making 100,000 a month. Maybe I should indulge.
Yep.
I've known some artists that is their path. And it's not the wrong choice. I mean, plenty of people, that's the right choice for them. No shade.
Yeah.
It's just not typically. It's not the one I'm known for. For anybody who's new around here, I don't draw a lot of butts. Doesn't come up. Getting
I
way
don't
in
know.
there.
Some of those angels, they got some sexy legs.
Could be. Yeah, actually, you know what? I do draw a sexy leg every once in a while.
So apparently, Jay said that some miniature artists tape out the nipples or blur stuff because some people do report that, and I guess Twitch does act on it.
No
just
way.
Good to know for the
Can
future.
you imagine reporting that? Like, I don't know. You got to be like actually trolling.
I mean, it's not a nipple. It's a butt crack, which is different in some respects.
Yeah.
I'm not
You
sure
have to.
how we're gonna get reported or how TOS doing an art study is, a painting study.
Just to be safe, you can paint a really tacky whale tail thong on an upper layer.
That feels like it's hanging. That feels like it's just hanging like a big adding extra attention to it. To be honest, but I don't know.
So
This is
win-win?
not these are not waters I've charted before. So
About the Twitch butt etiquette.
yeah. It's never come up. I mean, my hot tub streams so far have been very PG.
I fought that image in my head with all my heart.
I think now you're gonna have to paint Azrael in the bathtub.
Oh, I mean, that's the thing is I could have him sticking out of a little painted hot tub. I could make that happen. Oh, this reminds me. The other thing I want to say, there was a community question about like, hey, if I made if I fucked around with 2D Live and made a custom, like avatar, like would you put it on stream? I was like, yes. If anybody wants to make any kinds of like VTuber avatars, if you're gonna waste your time making free VTuber avatars for me, I will put them on stream here. Like that's a promise. If they're TOS friendly, I'll run them at least for a day. And if anybody wants to do like a really good fan art in their style of Azrael and like rig it up in 2D Live, and all I need to do is hit the go button, you will have my friendship for eternity. Because that would be awesome.
Oh man, people are doing cool things with 2D Live. I just found out about that the other day. Like,
oh
on
yeah,
Twitter.
I saw what somebody who actually like cares about VTubers like deeply does with it, and I'm like, oh my god, mine's like embarrassingly bad compared to like the amount of effort that goes into these typically. Holy shit, people are blowing it out. The game's aggressive.
But yours was the best.
What? Oh, I did mine
Yours
over the
was
course of a
really
Saturday, and I only watched
and-
half the tutorial. Like I was rushing through it, and I haven't put a big effort into it. But like when people put a ton of effort into it, they can do insane stuff. It makes me curious about jumping more into it. For real, but I'm kind of overloaded at the moment, and so like the idea of having like it be a community effort would be fun if anybody like really wants to dig in more deeply into it. Like I really would like to highlight community stuff that's happening whenever possible, and it includes like building a 2D Live avatar or like using one that's been made by the community. I really want to make like a cute Azrael that's got like a cute chibi face like I did for like the plushie. Today's the last day of the plushie, by the way. Like, technically the last day. Let's just say that.
You got to make it the weekly challenge.
The weekly challenge? Well, that was the
Yeah.
thing. Iori was saying, should it be the weekly challenge? And I was like, I don't know. Like asking people to like jump into 2D Live just for my benefit, to like learn a brand new software for my benefit seems a bit much to ask.
Oh yeah.
But if somebody wants to do it because they just love the idea so much, they're gonna like be like, I'm gonna spend a week learning new software just to dress up a Twitch streamer. I'm like, I could see someone doing it, so I'm not going to say no, but I'm also not going to like say like everyone drop what you're doing and build shit for me. Like that's not where I'm at.
I was thinking more just like, you know, make like your take on my angel or whatever.
Do a fan art contest. Well, I want to do that. I'm going to do that through Angelarium rather than through Huckleberry. Like Huckleberry is so much more about the community than it is about me. So like trying to do a fan art of like Angelarium, I think puts too much of the lens on me personally.
Okay, makes sense.
So like I'm finding it's really, really easy to like block in some of the stuff that is happening here. Like you just kind of scrub it away at it a little bit and it kind of naturally forms the kind of shapes. Like as I was like cutting in here and there's like this blue area, I was like, okay, well I'm just going to cut in here and you can see it kind of overlaps the background. Well, guess what? That's the exact same thing that's happening here is like you can see because of the way it's kind of muddying the space and like the strokes are going this way. That like there used to be a larger blob and then he cut a hole in it over here. And I'm like, oh. Like the art is an expression of like the tools that were used to make it. It's like, you know, if you follow along with like the way that it was made, then it kind of reproduces the look in a way, which makes a ton of sense, especially if you're like hands-on working through it. Master studies. I got to do more of these. It's really like instructional. I like it, and it's fun. I won't get a thing at the end that's going to be like good content to post, but I never post my studies anyway outside of the Huckleberry Discord, so it kind of doesn't matter. It's like basically the same level of investment.
Yeah. I don't know. This might just be because like I'm a like stylized artist or whatever, but like I've always found I get more out of master studies than photo. Whenever I do a photo, I'm just like, I have no idea what I'm trying to accomplish here.
I don't know. That like the like open-ended question of like what are you trying to accomplish with a photo study is part of what I like about photo studies.
Okay.
Because like I have to ask myself every single day when I sit down to do a photo study, like, what am I trying to do here other than just replicate like an image perfectly? Because like with a master study, I'm like at least going through an artist's vision and asking myself questions about their process and very closely examining like the marks that they're making, stuff like that. With a photo study, like you need to be putting a spin on it that gives it some unique identity. And so like that challenge has been like a way that I'm using to try to grow my skill set as an artist. And that's like one of my favorite things about committing to doing them every day.
Okay.
It's a pain in the ass, but like the being difficult is the point. Like,
yeah,
it's why people like the FromSoft games, like because they're not gonna be like, well, they're hard for everybody else, but they're easy for me. Like they're hard for everyone. Like they wouldn't be popular if they were easy for everyone.
Yeah, every time I've done what you're suggesting, it's actually been really hard, and I like fail at it and make a terrible image. And I'm like, okay, not doing that again for months.
But you're like, I died to the asylum demon. This game is garbage.
Yep.
Like, yeah, maybe get good is my lesson here.
Yeah, dang. Maybe I do need to get good. Although there's I don't know, one of the things about art is there's so many different things you could get good at,
right.
And you have to like pick.
Yeah, so you need to pick the ways in which you get good, which is like an extra layer of challenge, which I find to be even more interesting.
Yeah.
Like you first need to define the axes by which you are going to get good, and then you have to get good at it.
Yeah. It's dumb.
We're coming up on 2 hours. So I put the person to raid.
Okay. I was telling Dustin that I wanted to try to like stay closer to a 2 hour mark on the studies and stuff, because I have like I'm trying to like pack other stuff into my days, and like when those streams go extra long, I can't do my other things, and now I have a study that is like not done, and it's coming up on 2 hours. So I am going to have a study where some parts of it are more finished than others, I think. And that's fine.
Yeah, you also have another thing at 3 in case you want
Oh,
to
I do
take
have
a
another
short.
thing at 3. Yeah, it'd be nice to have a break between them. Okay, that's a good point. It's Tuesday, everyone.
Yes, it is.
Tuesday's my busy days.
Mm.
Al, what are you saying? It's Tuesday like that? You have a big Tuesday planned?
No, I just got kids, dude.
You're just tired all the time.
Yeah. The baby is extra, but at least now he's napping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old is the baby now?
He's gonna be 9 months in September.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You're busy.
Yeah, I'm very busy, yeah. And he only naps at like 17 minutes at a time sometimes, and it's just like, ugh.
I don't know if our kids ever napped without me there.
I
Yeah.
saw I saw at like a electronics expo. They had a stroller that rocks itself back and forth automatically, and I was like,
What?
"Oh, that would have been nice. That would have been nice."
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think walks was the only time that they slept. Like if
Yeah.
I took them on a walk or in a car, but
You got
otherwise
in
they
really
wouldn't
good
nap.
shape in like the couple years after Kuba was born, because like you had to be in motion 24 hours a day in order to not be
Well-
like somebody screaming in your face.
But
Oh my
when we
God.
lived in San Francisco, like also I couldn't take the stroller everywhere if I was going to visit you in town, so I was carrying him everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah.
It gets easier. It really, really does.
Yeah, in like 10 years.
Yeah, no, I got the 5-year-old too, and he's in school now, so
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the
But
crazy
with a baby,
thing is you
it's
get a
kinda
second
reset.
one and you reset the clock. You're
I
like,
did.
oh, I'm gonna get it back to where it was really hard again, and it's gonna be that way for a few more years. And like, it was like, oh, do we want to have a third kid? It's like the idea of resetting the clock back to 0 again, to like,
I
having
know.
some level of autonomy. I was like, no way, no shot.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the question of us having 3 children was like died completely after having the first one. I was thinking like there is no way I can have 3 of them at the same time.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I'm done. Like pregnancy this last time was just like fucking awful.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was so miserable. Not doing it again.
You ever get talk to those ladies that are like, oh my god, I love being pregnant so much.
Well, the first pregnancy was fine. I was okay, but the birth was fucked up. But then, like, the second pregnancy, I felt like an ogre.
An ogre?
I was a
Did not
fucking
like-
ogre, dude. I got fat. I was just like, I couldn't, like, move anywhere. I didn't get sick or anything. I don't have morning sickness, but I was just, like, miserable. Like, I felt miserable like an ogre. And I just smelled weird and everything was awful.
Your husband kept calling you an ogre, kept asking you what kind of what an ogre is doing in this part of the forest.
Yeah, no, he was just
Making
looking at
candles
me.
out of wax.
Yeah, no, he was just looking at me like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No." Like, and he was just like, "Okay, I'll take the older one out."
Yeah. You spoke
Like,
to him in a dark tongue.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It was. I was so miserable. Yeah, I never want to be pregnant again though. But I keep on having nightmares about it.
Whoa, really?
Oh.
I keep on having dreams that I'm pregnant again, and it's a girl,
Oh.
and it's freaking me out.
You were supposed to have a girl, and there was a cosmic misunderstanding, and now there is this spirit that is following you around going, Mother,
Yeah.
please, I'm supposed to exist. And you're like, oh my god, fuck off. Mom's got to rebuild her career.
Yeah, no, that's it exactly. And my husband even said he thinks that babies and like children come from like little souls that are like floating in the ether until they find you, and they're like, okay, you're gonna be making my body now, right? That's what Brad thinks now. It's just like, okay, that's kind of frou-frou, but all right. And then But now there's like these dreams of this little girl, and it's like, no. Unless I find one at Lightbox, just find a baby.
Oh, you just gonna find one?
I don't know, like
Be
find
like,
a baby.
hey, this one
like,
looks good, and
one
just
of those-
grab it out of the stroller and run.
No,
That happens
more
in LA
like,
all the time.
no, you see, like, no. Actually, I was thinking it was more like I was gonna find one in like a dumpster or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that happens too.
Rescue baby, you know, like because
Yeah.
that happens a lot, and it's like it's heart wrenching and awful. And I would like,
You're
I
like,
think about
oh,
what I
free
would
baby,
do.
hell
Then.
yeah.
I would save that baby so hard.
And we just say no to a free baby? Come on.
It's
Give me a
like
break.
freaking me out. It's just like these dreams about this little like baby girl, and it's like, why?
That's weird.
It is weird.
That's weird. You're being weird. Okay, I'm done with this
Yeah.
painting. It's 2:00. I did a master's
You didn't
study.
even-
She's got. Oh, I'm gonna give her like at least a little bit of a foot. This
Yeah,
is
man.
embarrassing.
You should have worked more in the butt.
I should have worked more on the butt. Yeah,
Yeah.
Frank was in here like putting in little bits of extra cellulite and stuff. It looked like he spent the most time on the butt of anywhere in the whole painting.
The man really cared.
He cared deeply for the butt. Can't fault somebody for having priorities, right?
No.
All right. I said I was only going to spend an hour. Oh,
And
this is the problem with being a really detailed art liker. Whenever you do a study, it's like, well, it's going to take more than an hour to like get all the details or whatever. I was just trying to like figure out how people are like getting weird watercolory paintings now.
Mm.
And it's definitely blending modes. It's just whenever I do it from reference, I can kind of do it, but when I have to do it on my own painting, I just lose like 70 IQ points.
yeah, like my exposure to that was back in like, let's say it's 2004, and I'm on DeviantArt, and I'm looking around and I'm just like, and I DM Loish, and I'm like, hey, are you just really good at the color picker, or are you like using color adjustments and stuff? And she's like, I'm just like using color adjustments and stuff. I was like, oh shit, okay. Because like I wasn't sure whether or not people were like really good. People just got really good at the color picker, and like knowing like if this color is here, then I should be moving it a little bit over this way, or if like maybe there was just tools that made it way easier. And it turns out there's tools that make it way easier, and like that's the way everyone's been doing it the whole time, like forever. Even like earlier internet, like pre-social media. Everyone's always done it that way. That's just how Photoshop works.
Yeah. Damn. I mean, I didn't know.
And Krita
until
now, I
recently.
guess, too.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just kind of like, well, I guess I have to get really good at like manually selecting colors. This is gonna be a pain.
Gotta get. Oh wait, actually, the butt does need a little more massaging.
It really does.
Need to touch the butt.
Good choice of words.
Well, you always talk about petting. You're like, oh, you just gotta, pet the different colors more or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotta pet the butt. The crack goes deep in the value range. There we go. A little bit of blue at the edges. Nice. Okay. It's not perfect. It's not, I wouldn't even say it's great. I meant to do other stuff with it, but I'm out of time, and it's done, and I'm pretty happy with it, and I enjoyed the hell out of working on it. So thank you, everyone, for joining me. We got, did I miss, I was so wrapped up trying to get this done that I missed whether or not Dustin was sending me a link. Chloe Za for the raid today. I'm going to post my study over on the Huckleberry Discord. I'll link there if you want to see it. You can go and post your own studies over on Huckleberry the Huckleberry Discord server, and I'm doing studies over there like every weekday and posting mine, and a lot of people are out there doing theirs too, and it's been really fun because everyone's out there like doing art together and sharing the stuff, and the community has really grown a lot over the last like, what's it been, a couple of months now?
Yeah, it's been like 2 months.
Oh my god, it's been a whirlwind. I love seeing it still, and it feels like it's still growing because the sketchbook channels have been popping recently. I usually post my dailies in my sketchbook and in the dailies channel because I know people look in both. Or I know they look in the dailies channel, and I also want to keep the sketchbook organized is the big thing. Studies. Finish studies. Oh my god, there's some really cool ones in here. Miguel did one of the flowy one yesterday, the flowy cloth person. Looked awesome. Oh my god. There's a lot. There's people. I don't know if I've seen all of them before doing some really good studies in here. Shit. Oh my god. We're gonna look at all this on Friday. There's so much good shit in here.
Yeah, you were supposed to save your reactions on Friday. Oh,
no, that's to I'm gonna save my reactions for the challenge, but for the dailies, I'm in here posting. It's funny. Looking through the thumbnails here, it's like all these like plain color blocks and like weird sketchy people, and then this one full color like blitzed out painting here. It's like a totally different look from everything. Very interesting divergence from what I'm normally doing. It's very fun. Okay. Sketchbook. I posted some of my old cringy sketches in my sketchbook too, if you guys check those out.
Oh yeah. Oh dude, I can totally see I can see the beginnings of like Angelarium in the one that's like a anime dude with like a cloudy, rocky background.
Oh, let me see if I can get the I feel like I have to do it a little different each day. Okay, there we go. Yeah, but there's like really cringy old drawings from like early sketchbooks. I photographed some of them. I still have them in a closet, so I can pull them out and go find some really ancient ones. And then I've got this OC from like, this is like my first like successful digital painting of like my OC. And then like going to college when I first met Al, this is what I was doing.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and I was like one of the only people who was trying to learn digital painting in our fucking art school because they didn't give us tablets until senior year.
I'm surprised you didn't post Crow in there.
I didn't want. I felt Crow. I think is actually still good. I didn't want to make it look like I was flexing. I wanted to do the cringiest stuff.
Well, no, you should have posted it also because like it was really interesting. I thought it was like way ahead of your other stuff.
Yeah.
It was...
I'll post it. But and then I did this same OC again for an art test when I was testing for Vicarious Visions, like, towards the end of my time working in games. So like I had this moment where it was like I was either going to go to San Francisco and work in social games, or I was going to go to New York and I was going to work on Skylanders.
Wait, I thought Seattle was also an option.
No, it was upstate New York. It was Avalanche. And I think it was like I was going to work on Skylanders, and so I did this art test for Skylanders, and they approved it. But then I was like, I'm taking this other job. It was like more money, and it was a better position. It was like a higher title over in the San Francisco thing. But now looking back on it, instead of working on like an incredibly successful IP that a lot of people cared about, I did like a weird Facebook thing that was mostly gambling, which was, I don't know, like it made the choice made sense at the time, but maybe I would have had a different career trajectory if I'd actually gone to a real game studio for once. But yeah. So yeah, I was posting some of the old stuff there. I'll post more old stuff in my sketchbook. But yeah.
Post Crow.
I'll post Crow in Winter. Thanks everyone for joining me. It was good seeing all of you. We're gonna raid Chloe here right now, and then I'm gonna log out and get to preparing to get Hurricane kicked by Izelda or whatever its name is.
That's
Idalia.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah. Fucking Tatsumaki. Oh my god, we got a lot of viewers today. Holy shit. Thanks you guys for stopping by. All right. 3, 2, 1. See you on the other side.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, Pete, don't die on the
Bye.
storm.
Let's see. Log out of this thing.